Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Scandal Season 7, Episode 14, and the name of this episode is The List. This was a really good episode, and I can't wait to talk about it, so let me begin. The episode opens up, there's this young girl who's trying to buy a gun, and she's an intern. We see her on the phone talking with her father, and then she goes to purchase a gun. And that's where it began. Then we see Olivia and Abby meet with each other. Olivia lets Abby know that Cyrus had hijacked his own plane, and Cyrus wants the Oval, so Millie is actually in danger. In that, there's no telling what he will do to gain that Oval. Like, he'll do anything. And she's saying that, look, we need to let the team know about this. And Abby was like, team? You don't have a team. So there's still some resentment against Olivia, especially for what went down with Quinn. But she tells her, like, look, Olivia just blatantly tells her that, look, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for your help. So then we actually see Jake and Millie. Millie has been having problems with her back, and she had it throughout the whole episode, but towards the middle of the episode, we find out what's going on, but she's laying on her back on the floor in the Oval because her back condition is so bad, and she pretty much tells Jake that, we need to do something about the federal budget, and this could be really bad if we don't get on top of this. So she suggests that we get Cyrus on our team because Cyrus has now got a lot of publicity since his speech on the Air Force on Air Force 2. The plane that he hijacked and put damn near everybody on danger, including David Rosen. So she's pretty much suggesting that Jake, that look, we need Cyrus, so he can help us gain support to our agenda with the federal budget. And Jake is so not here for it. He is like, fuck that. Let's do something else. And she was like, look, if there was another way, I would, but Cyrus is our only option. So whatever little grudge you got with him, blow it out your ass. We need him. But then we see that Jake, throughout the episode, is also investigating where the hack came from and who was behind it. And the woman is pretty much saying that, well, definitely the person who hijacked this plane is either one, new to this, or they're a secret genius. Because they really left no trace as to how they did it. So then we see Olivia meets up with Marcus. Olivia comes over. Marcus like, hey, I was thinking about getting some dinner. You want to hang out? And then Marcus like, damn, you want to get out and dinner, hang out with me? You must don't have no friends right now, do you? And pretty much she's like, well, no, I don't. So they start talking, and then while they're talking, this guy comes in, and he's looking, and Marcus is like, okay, because she's at Marcus' office. So, but Marcus is like, I can help you, sir, but we're actually closed. But then he says, no, I'm actually looking for Olivia. You're Olivia Pope. This is the father of the girl that we met in the beginning of the episode, the intern. She's 21 years old, and her name is Alicia Francis. And she's been missing for about 2 weeks, and she's originally from Ohio. Her father's name is Gary, and and he's asking for Olivia to help find his daughter. But Olivia tells him that, look, I don't do this anymore. It's not my thing. But then he begins to say that his daughter idolizes her. She wants to be just like you. Like, she's one of your biggest fans. And she hasn't called me in a week. And this is just not like my daughter, And they and so pretty much what ends up happening, they end up doing some intel. They find out that she was working for a congressman named Philip Beard. But, she just kind of disappeared. So Olivia and Marcus take this to Fitz, and Fish is like, you think you got a case? And Olivia says yes. And he says, okay, well, I'm behind it. I'll do all I can. And you can definitely tell that Fish is still in love with Olivia, and we kind of saw that throughout the episode. And so pretty much Olivia says, okay, I'm going to go to her apartment, and Marcus decided to talk to Metro Police. He says that, hey, I've been getting acquainted with them a lot lately. So that's what he ended up doing. Then we see Abby is talking with, everybody at QPA. She lies that David told her about Cyrus hijacking the plane, and we see that Charlie is not happy with this because Quinn is back in it. She's ready to run QPA, and she's like, yeah, we need to investigate this and do this and do that. And then Charlie's like, nah, I don't want to get involved in nothing involved in the damn White House, because next thing you know, we dealing with explosive planes and all this shit. And he literally had to take Quinn aside and talk to her. And he was saying that, look, I am not about getting you involved in none of this. You could have been dead. But she's saying that, look, I'm not, and I'm back, and, we got to get past this, and we got to do what we got to do. So pretty much she's like, we got to do something. That's what we're here for. So that nipped that in the bud. Then we see Olivia goes to Alicia's apartment. We meet Megan. Who's her roommate, and we come to find out from talking to Megan that Alicia lost her job a week ago. They both were interns for the same congressman, and, after the internship, they pretty much either get hired full time, or they're just let go. And she was let go, and I got the job. So all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, ding, ding, ding. What's going on with this? Where this girl, who obviously is very intelligent, why didn't she get the job that her friend did? Because both of them were roommates, and she said that, we really weren't that close. But we see that old girl got the job, but then she didn't, and then all of a sudden she didn't get the job, and she disappears. What the hell's going on with that? So Olivia kind of smiled on her face, but then she ends up taking Alicia's laptop, and then Olivia looks at her wall, and on her wall is like a shrine to Olivia Pope. So Olivia was, her hero in her eyes. So then we actually see that Fish, Olivia, and Marcus regroup, and Marcus, pretty much, Marcus pretty much gets information about this hot list, where and if anything, she pretty much tried to, they also tried to talk to the boss, but he wouldn't comply. The guy that she was working for him, why she ended up getting fired. But then what ended up happening is that they found, they pretty much found out about this list. It was called the fresh meat list. So Marcus brought this intel, and then then also Fish like, oh yeah, the hot list, I know about that. And Olivia looked at him like, really? Because we already know what this sounds like, that all of these fresh, interns are on these lists for all of these congressional heads to pick and choose as to, who they want on their team for more things than others, if you know what I mean. So we see that she was on the list, and she had the abbreviation GFV. So they're kind of questioning GFV. What the hell does that mean? Because not every girl has that. So why does she has this? So Marcus clarifies that GFV. Well, actually, now I remember. Forgive me. Olivia found the list on Alicia's laptop. and that and she pretty much also sent an email saying that she won't tell her boss what happened, about them trying to. So she really felt her life was in danger because she wouldn't play the game, so to speak. So pretty much, they found the list. Marcus pretty much, lets her know what GFV stands for, gluten-free vegan, meaning she ain't the type that's gonna put out and have sex to get a promotion or to get a job. And they also found out that she applied to 28 openings and she did not get one response. So she practically was railroaded. And that's something I can relate to because I've experienced being railroaded out of a job, which has inspired me to become a senior associate with Legal Shield and ID Shield, because what happened to me, I want to help that no one else has to go through what I went through. So definitely check out my link, my website in the description box for Legal Shield and ID Shield, and if you want more information, feel free to contact me through my other social platforms. I'll be more than happy to hear from you. So with that really changes everything. So here it is. She gets fired. She applies to all these jobs. Doesn't get any responses. She buys a gun, and all of a sudden she disappears. So they all drew the narrative that this is not going to have a good outcome. So then we see that Millie, talks to Stylish, and she's buttering him up, with tea and all of that, pretty much saying that, look, we got everybody on board, but, the Democrats, are not in full agreement with this. So, but then he says, oh, well, I can talk, I can go to the press and talk to them and do what I can to help them to agree with the federal budget. I can talk to some people. And then she apologizes because they were actually going to shoot down Air Force Two when the plane got hijacked. But then he said that, no, you made the right decision, and he said that, look, in that situation, I would have done the same thing you did. Totally playing it to her face. And she pretty much tells him that, oh, we're going to get justice, for the person who hijacked the plane. And he says, I believe it. So I'm just thinking, okay, what the fuck you got going on, Cyrus? So we see Cyrus is doing an interview talking to the press about the federal budget and his support of President Grant's agenda, and we see that QPA is watching it, and they're trying to figure out if Cyrus did this, then where's the money trail and who did he hire, because there's no trace of anything. There's no trace of anything. I'm sorry, there's no trace of any transactions or any connections as to how he did this. There's no transactions. But then all of a sudden, Abby notices while he's on television that painting that he got from Glaxton is not there, and it's a Cezanne, a very, very lucrative, painting, it's a very rare piece, and she noticed that their painting is gone. We see that Cyrus has given that painting to this guy named Lonnie. And then Lonnie is the one that was the one who hijacked the plane. He did it for Cyrus, and then we also see that Lonnie also has footage. He's been telling Olivia, saying that Olivia, is asking around, about the hijacking of the plane, and he's kind of paranoid because he's like, I don't know if I want to do this, this is too dangerous, what's going to happen to me, and all of that, he's trying to pull out of the deal and everything, and so we now know he's the hacker. But then Cyrus pulls out that charm, starts talking about George Washington and doing what he had to do to create the revolution. No one sets out to be a revolutionary, but when you're a revolutionary, you have to make certain decisions, and sometimes you don't have like a playbook to go by. And he says that, look, you just worry about what you're doing, and I'll worry about Olivia Pope. So yeah, we see that, Lonnie's scared. you know, because he definitely broke, you know, so many federal laws doing that shit. You know, and he know damn well he'll get years in prison. He'll never see the light of day again. So then we see Olivia and Marcus, you know, they find Alicia's boss. They ask about the hot list and all of that, and first he's saying that, oh, he's kind of, you know, being real smug, was trying to blow them off, but then once they brought up the hot list, that's what got his attention. And she says, oh, you know exactly what we're talking about because your phone been going off and you ain't even looked once at it, so you know what we're saying is true. You know about this. So what's going on? And he pretty much says that, look, she wouldn't play the game. You know, so pretty much you're telling me that because she wouldn't play the game and she wouldn't have sex with you, you pretty much ruined her life and her career, you know. And you literally tell me that you literally just destroyed this woman's life because she wouldn't get into you. He's saying that, look, I'm sorry she couldn't get y'all nowhere else, but hey, she didn't play the game and she knew what she was getting herself into. And Olivia started to read him for filth, you know, pretty much saying that, you know, the thing about it, she bought a gun. And now she disappeared, and after you fired her. So right now it's looking like you may be more involved in what you're saying, and if anything, I'm going to come down on you hard. You know, and like she starts going in, and then the phones keep going off. She's like, oh my God, sakes, would you put your damn phone on vibrate like normal people? But it was actually Marcus' phone. They actually found Alicia's body. And pretty much at first, Olivia thinks she was murdered, but no. She actually committed suicide. She shot herself. So then we see, you know, Gary, who's Alicia's father. You know, Gary is definitely saddened, you know. And then next thing you know, he starts talking about his daughter. And then he starts turning on Olivia, pretty much saying that, and this scene made me mad. Because I'm like, bruh, Olivia had nothing to do with your daughter dying. As a matter of fact, you came there to her for help, but then he starts saying that, oh, this place is so disgusting and you fit right in with it. You know, my daughter looked up to you, but you know, it's all a fake. You know, you're not a role model at all. You know, you're just as disgusting as all these other people here. And it makes me wonder, was it your relationship with President Grant, how you got to where you are? You know, you played backdoor politics. So this is what my daughter looked up to. She was a good person. She was an honest woman. And here it is, she was looking up to the likes of you. And she was fooled and was deceived. And she ended up following you into the swamp. And it sucked her under. I'm like, oh, he was mad as hell, but at the end of the day, he was mourning, so his anger was misguided. But that shit made me mad. I'm like, dude, you came there for her for help, and your daughter going down the path had nothing to do with Olivia. And as a matter of fact, Olivia was going to be good anyway because her father is command, and she went to some of the most prestigious schools in the world. She went to the top, one of the top private schools in Europe. She had opportunities that your daughter didn't have. So yeah, that jump was crazy. So then after that, Olivia and Fitz have a meeting, and she pretty much says that Alicia deserves justice, and then she starts thinking like, I can't believe this. Like, this whole, and this really brings question to like the Me Too movement of how a lot of women are sexualized and abused in the corporate and private settings, and that, in order to get a job, you got to put out in order to get ahead, and that they have been abusing this power for years, and that really that. It's sending the alarm that the government is just it's pretty much run by these, it's pretty much run like a frat party, and all these men are abusing their power. So she's like, I need a smoking gun. How am I going to make this a case? Because this girl deserves justice. It dawned on her, and she goes back to talk to Megan. Um, and she talks about, their boss, Tim Waterman. And she admits she had sex with him to get the job. So that's why she got hired and why Alicia didn't get hired, because Alicia wouldn't have sex. But she did have sex with him. But then she's kind of letting them know. But then Olivia kind of lets her know that, look, you need to actually come out against this. Alicia deserves justice. And she's saying, but if I do this could ruin my career and everything I've tried to build. And she says that yes, she says that, look, I know you got a lot to think about, but you need to understand that, look, we need other women to stand up. This is an act of courage, and Alicia deserves this. And she left her with that. Then we see Marcus and Millie have a conversation. Marcus has, they pretty much came with the idea that they need to take this to Millie, and Millie can develop legislation, that actually, stops this type of abuse, who pretty much, permits this, I'm sorry. He wants to introduce legislation that actually stops, abuse in the workplace, especially, for women. And, Millie's dead in on it because Millie knows what it like. Millie definitely experienced this, because she was raped by Fitz's father. So, of course, this rings true to her, but then she's also thinking right now she got the federal budget bill going, and then, I can present this, but then again, that, it may not even get through Congress. They'll probably reject it. But then he was saying that, well, what about your executive order? She's like, yeah, but due to the fact I got, this whole federal budget thing going on, I'm not trying to rock the boat right now with that. And then like he pretty much saying that, so you mean to tell me that women should just continue to get abused and get, railroaded out of their jobs because they're not putting out? And then next you know, she's saying that, oh, so you now getting smart with me because you ain't getting what you want? And then Marcus like, when it comes to you, Millie, I never get what I want. I was like, ooh, okay, Marcus. Because it's obvious he's still in love with Millie, and Millie has feelings for him, but, Millie is now she's now, commander-in-chief. So she's, she's loyal to the American people. So she pretty much told him that, look, I'll give your situation, I'll think it over, but you need to leave my office. But you can definitely tell, yeah, Marcus is still in love with Millie. So I think him having that little thing with Michaela was because Michaela and him kind of had some chemistry, but he's still in love with Millie though. So that was interesting. So then we pretty much we actually see that Abby and David, have a moment. He's talking about the spreadsheets, about the list and all of that, and he pretty much said that, well, I got Cyrus's back 100%. Cyrus is like a brother to me. He held me down during that whole situation. What he did was so patriotic, and, and I recused myself of the situation because, due to the fact that I was, on the plane with him, I recused myself from investigating, and I'm going to let somebody else take it. So this is definitely raining for Abby. So then, so therefore, finally, we see Abby goes back to TPA. They're pretty much, they got a draft of Cyrus' speech, and and pretty much Charlie's like, look, why are we wasting my time with this whole investigation? Because we see Huck is definitely doing, his intel to try to see a link of how Cyrus is connected. He's like, look, it doesn't matter whether he did it or not. We can't prove anything, so why are we wasting our time on this? And Abby finally confesses that this did not come from David. It actually came from Olivia. Immediately, Quinn is like, shut this shit down. Shut it down. And Quinn flips out. And she's like, and Abby's like, look, I understand how you feel, but look, David was on that plane. And she's like, yeah, and I was in the basement. And I'm not dealing with her ass at all. So she's still pissed off. And it's like, okay, y'all all mad at Olivia, but let's be real, all of y'all done did some damn dirt, so won't y'all just kind of blow it off your asses and get over it? But then again, they're human. But it's like, okay, y'all holding all this anger towards Olivia like all of you are squeaky clean, like she had to get all of you out of messes from time to time throughout the years. Just saying. How quick people forget. So then we see Millie and Jake, they're talking about the legislation and everything, but then he was saying that it's probably gonna be a long night, so I can get you some fried chicken and everything, and get you some moonshine. And we see that we actually see that that's what they end up doing. They end up getting some fried chicken, eating, and all of that. And then the next thing you know, she started having problems with her back, and she lays back down on the floor. She gets her tennis ball. He pours her some moonshine, and she pretty much confesses. So while she's laying on the ground, Jake lays his ass right next to her and shit. And then she talks about Happy Baby, and she says it's a pose in yoga. I blew out my back from doing yoga. That's what happened to me. And, and Jake pretty much says that it's fine, Madam President. There are many presidents throughout history that's injured themselves on the job. And he starts naming certain presidents that have had injuries while they were commander-in-chief, and yet they were fine. And then he was just like, yes, she's like, thank you so much, Jake. I needed that. And he was like, yeah, we make a great team. And then we see that he's like kind of throwing himself onto Millie. And all of a sudden, I was like, he's just kind of stroking her hand and shit. And immediately, Millie shut it down. She's like, oh hell no, you gotta go. I'll talk to you later, and got him up out of there. So then we pretty much see that so we see that Abby meets up with Olivia because Abby's the only one from QPA that's talking to her. And so pretty much she lets Olivia know that the team know it's you, and they decided to drop the investigation. And she asks her, so how's your case on the Hill going? She says, about the same as this one, And she's like, he's guilty, Abby, and I know it. And Cyrus did this. And she says that, yeah, but we can't prove it. So she's like, you're kind of on your own with that one. So, yeah, I already talked about that. So then we get a scene with Charlie and Huck. He's still looking for the virus on his computer. And Charlie's like, Quinn said drop it. He's like, yeah, but this virus situation, I can't let it rest, so I can't drop it. It just feels wrong, so I can't drop it until I find out what's going on with this. And then, he starts saying that, maybe Olivia's back, maybe the old Liv is back. And he goes off, and then Charlie goes off and is like, the old Liv is dead. She represents the White House. That's all she cares about. That's all she's ever going to care about. And I am not in the business of doing anything for Olivia or the White House, ever. Which I understand where that angle is coming from because they put his daughter in danger. So, as a father, I understand why he's that damn mad. So, then we see, so pretty much, we see Fitz and Olivia meet up again. They pretty much say that, they need one girl to stand up, and then, he starts asking about when he was on the campaign trail, did he cross the line between the two of them? And he says, did I do something wrong? And she said, no, because we crossed that line together. And he was like, and then within that conversation, Megan shows up and she says that she's in. And we see she does a press conference. Gary's in the audience. Gary's crying because Megan is giving Alicia justice sadly she had to pay with her life, but this now has become a narrative because she does a press conference where, she said, we pretty much live in a nasty world where we have to use sex to get promoted. And because my friend Alicia did not want to have sex, she was railroaded out of her job. No one would hire her, and this led her to take her own life. She was smart, she was intelligent, she would have been a great asset to our community, and yet she was taken because of one man's, selfishness and evil intentions, caused her to take her own life. And she even admitted that I had to have sex to get my job. So she put it out there. So this has now become public knowledge. Gary finally got peace, but, he's definitely going to be grieving for a while because that was his baby. And we can definitely tell between Fitz and Olivia that the attraction's still there. I definitely talked about that. But then later on, Millie also saw this press conference. So now she's saying that, so pretty much the next day, her and Jake meet up. She tells Jake, I want that legislation, and I'm going to get, and I want the federal budget. And he was saying that, we agreed that you wouldn't do. He's like, no. See, we didn't agree to anything. You gave me your opinion. I thought about it, and now I'm giving you my option. I'm giving you your duties that you're supposed to do your job. So give me the budget and give me my bill. And then he was saying that I apologize, and she's like, yeah, I understand, but you were wrong for two reasons. One, I would never have an affair with a subordinate. Second, I would never have an affair with somebody who's been with Olivia Pope, God forsake. But he's like, God forsake, I would I would never sleep with somebody, that's been with Olivia Pope. And he was kind of like, oh, that was two. But then she was like, and three, is this a power play for you? Were you just doing that because at that moment, because I was in a weak space, you saw me as a damsel in distress that you can take over? And he was like, no, madam, I was just doing my job. I did, the same with, he's like, I was just as loyal to Fitz as well. And she was like, oh, so when Fitz had a problem and he was down and out, did you caress him too? I was like, okay, Millie, clock his ass, clock that damn male chauvinism, and that's exactly what she did. So pretty much, Abby, meets up with Olivia. She saw the press conference. She said this is good work. And she pretty much, and Olivia says, look, I don't blame the team. It's not their fight, it's mine. I vowed to protect Millie from the boys club, and I cannot let Millie stand alone against Cyrus. And she says, amen, and you had me at standing against patriarchy. So once you decided to go against the old grain, that's where I knew you were back. So Abby's back on the team. So Jake finally finds out where the virus came from. Huck then goes to Quinn, at QPA. He pretty much says, yeah, we found the virus, and it's on Charlie's laptop, and all of that shit. So then we're also seeing in the press, we're seeing that David Rosen is talking where he's saying he's recusing himself from the investigation of the hack, and the person they're going to put in place is that damn Lonnie. Lonnie, the guy that the actual hacker is the one that's going to be heading the case. And we see Cyrus is just sitting back watching, and it's like, blessed be. And I'm like, that evil motherfucker. That damn Cyrus Bean is going to become president one way or the other, and he's going to rig the game so he can take the Oval. And then all of a sudden we see, also before we saw that, we see that, Quinn approaches, Charlie saying that, so you mean to tell me after all this time and all this damn talk, you still been working with Cyrus behind my back? Are you fucking kidding me? And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, the virus was in your laptop. He's like, well, if it was there, I didn't put it there. And then the next thing you know, we see the feds come in and they lock up Charlie. So old boy Lonnie done put the damn virus on Charlie's laptop to make it seem as if Charlie was behind the damn hack. So they just pinned it on Charlie, and Charlie's gonna take the fall, for Lonnie's deed. So I'm like, this shit is crazy. So yeah, this episode is good. So I can't wait to see what's gonna happen next. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of Scandal. So until next time, everybody, take care.